welcome back to Nerf Diagnostic and Repair, the show where I attempt to diagnose and repair blasters sent to me by you, the fans. I am Captain Xavier, and today I've got two strifes, one stock and one with a shell integration, and a Ravenfire that have been sent to me to attempt to figure out why they won't work. Now, the first one came to me in pieces, so we're going to start there. So first, as you can see, we have a strife. He's neglected to send any of the screws as far as I can see. Hopefully he still has those somewhere wherever he is. And the first thing that I notice is that there is an absolutely prodigious amount of corrosion on this side of the battery housing. That is an impressive amount of corrosion. I don't see any corrosion or sign of water damage on the inside, so it may very well just be that one part, which, if that is the case, that's a fairly easy fix, hypothetically. In hindsight, I wish I had kept these when I pulled them out of blasters that I've rewired for LiPo. I may see if I can't fabricate something to replace that. I'm going to try to just pull that out because that is so far gone. I doubt I would be able to clean it too easily. Getting it out could be tricky. Oh, there we go. That is not supposed to be green. Let's see if I can find a replacement. This is why I keep so many of the parts that I take from dead blasters. I had some of the leads from something, couldn't tell you what blaster they came out of. They were not the exact same shape, but they were very similar. So they obviously, you know, there's a similar battery tray housing of some sort. And it fit in there, so now we're going to put some batteries in and see if it really was just that simple. Sure enough. So there you have it. That is, I've recommended this before. If your electronic blaster is not working, check the battery housing for corrosion. There's a number of things you can use to clean these up. Vinegar will work. Hydrogen peroxide, I believe, will work. You can also just use a wire brush or sandpaper or a file and clean those off enough. With this much corrosion, you probably would have needed some kind of a chemical because that was really, really bad. But simple enough solution. I will button this up as much as I can, given that he did not include, as far as I can tell, the screws. One done. Let's try the Ravenfire next. So here we have, supposedly, a non-functioning Ravenfire. First of all, they have thoroughly stripped out their battery door screw. Luckily, it will work with a flathead. Let's put batteries in and make sure it doesn't work, because wouldn't that be embarrassing? Sure enough, we are getting no love. So let's pop it open. So first thing we need to figure out is, are the motors any good? So we're going to connect directly from the battery leads to the motors. And we are getting nothing. Could be an issue in the battery housing, but let's go to a proper battery pack. Nothing. Well, get rid of those. Okay, so one motor is okay. Let's check the other one. Okay, so the good news is the motors are okay. So I was able to connect directly up to them. I don't know if something with these was the problem, because when I took these out, I was then able to connect to them and they spun up. So we're going to get rid of that. We're also going to get rid of any other of the safety things, and we're going to take out all of the locks, just because I don't know where the disconnect is, but somewhere in all of this, this circuit doesn't appear to be working either. So I'm going to minimize it. Take it down to just the rev trigger. Let's see if we can't get it to work then. So I'm going to go through and take off everything that doesn't need to be connected, which is most of this. I was wrong. There is corrosion on one of the battery leads. If it was as simple as that the whole time, I will be very annoyed. Yeah, that was it. Okay, now I'm gonna button it back up after a word from our sponsor.
Scuttle.
Sweird. Sweird. Right, yeah, this one's working again. Again, takeaway is always check the battery tray for corrosion. And then start at the motors and work your way back. I wasn't able to get any power out of the motors or into the motors while these were there, and that may be because these are specifically designed to keep you from overvolting, or they may have actually blown or gotten corroded, or who knows. But took them out, redid the wiring, took out the jam door lock as well as the mag lock. The switches are still in there because they're part of the latch mechanism that keeps it closed. Yeah, now it's working. So we're going to move on to that last one after these messages. Nerf Diagnostic and Repair is sponsored by Foam Blast, who sent me this magnificent screwdriver in my colors. It's exactly the right size for pretty much every Nerf blaster out there, and I love it. Check out their website at foamblastshop.com for all your Nerf modding needs. Up next, we have this thing. It, as you can see, is a Strife integrated with a Centurion, and it has the Chris Vector lower on it, so it's really quite cool looking. First thing we will do is, you guessed it, check the battery housing. And this time, it actually really does look clean. The battery's out of that Raven. Well, no joy without a magazine. Nothing. And a whole lot of nothing. Okay, well, let's get it open. Hopefully. I have some trouble getting this off, and I'm pretty sure this does need to come off for this to open up. So, may have to resort to violence. Success! Alright, now we see if this thing will come apart when you take the screws out. Okay. So we're in. And that is, without a doubt, some of the most atrocious wiring I have ever laid eyes on. I don't think it's even soldered. I think it's like hot glued. How did you strip out an interior screw? Yeah, it's not even soldered. It's just... I don't even know. I don't. Alright, lesson 1. Don't do whatever this guy did. First of all, he's using wire about 10 times thicker than it needs to be. So I'm just gonna get rid of it all. I am afeared to look at these motors. I don't want to know. Are there no motors? It's a good thing you didn't actually get this to work. You would have blown up your motors. The motors need to not do that. Alright, we're in luck. I do have motor screws. So, next lesson. Motor screws are necessary. They're not just a good idea. Also, Loctite. Loctite is necessary. Okay. Got the motors reinstalled. Now we will redo the wiring. He's got Neo Rhinos in this thing, but the stock switch, I have no idea what battery he thought he was going to run this on. Alright, let's discuss the state of this after a word from our sponsor.
Squeegee.
That's silly. I like it. So, step 1 with this one. If you want to do motor upgrades and wiring upgrades in Nerf blasters, you do have to learn to solder. It is simply a requirement. There are no ways around that. You can't hot glue leads to joints. You can't just wrap them around things. You absolutely have to learn to solder. So I have some videos on that. There are a plethora of videos on the internet about how to properly solder. Go watch them, learn how to do it properly, learn how to do it safely, and then try a project like this, because this was a disaster waiting to happen. Like I said, I don't know what battery he thought he was going to run this on, but Neo Rhinos require LiPo, really. There are some other options, but they're specifically designed to be run on LiPo, and you can't just run them on AA's, and you definitely shouldn't try running motors that hot on like trust fires. It's just not going to work well, and you definitely can't run it off a stock switch. That would have burned out the moment you pulled the rev trigger on pretty much any battery you put into this thing. So there are things you have to learn if you want to get to this level of upgrade. So that's kind of the takeaway here, is learn what you're doing before you try something like this, because there are potential dangerous results if you don't. I'm going to contact this guy, or hopefully if I can find the contact information for him, and find out what he wants to do. I'm willing to upgrade the switch and wire it for an XD60 or Dean's or whatever he wants to do, or button it up and send it back. It'll be up to him. So there you have it. That's diagnostic and repair. Like I said, I won't be taking new ones for a while because I have 3 bins of blasters from Afterworlds to go through. Once those are done, I will start taking fan submissions again, and I'm looking forward to that. So hope this was helpful to some of you, and thank you guys for watching.